Welcome back to another episode of the Canon on the Boomer Bus channel. I'm your host Terry, and today wanted to do my final predictions and theories and thoughts about Spider-Man No Way Home before all the spoilers get out, because tonight we have the world premiere, we have the critic screenings, the whole movie, all that, and so just waiting until the spoilers come out. So I wanted to make sure that I tried to get it out there before. I'm not really going to be looking at anything, but just in case people try to say I took it from somebody, I want to make sure I get it out before. So we're going to do it by likelihood and terms of how likely I think it is to happen. So for me, I'm going to start with 90% and above, and like the very likely to happen category. Number one, I'm going with Toby and Andrew are in the movie. So at one point, I kind of got off this train. I started to envision a world where they weren't in the movie. However, I think there's way too much evidence as we get close to this that they are. And Sony, for whatever reason, has been really aggressive with the marketing campaign in terms of showing us TV spots and everything, which I didn't expect, but I would say within that, they've started to tease and, be coy about them being in the movie as well. So there's that. And then I just really don't see any reason why they would. There's no reason as a story why you decide to bring these villains in from the other movies, because you could easily set up a story where it's a bunch of villains, but you bring in these villains specifically from the other movie. Why do that and not bring in the Spider-Man? And so to me, at this point, the only way they're not in it is if they didn't want to be in it. That's it. There's no way Disney or Sony or any of that was a reason where they was like, nah, we don't want them in it. No. The only way they're not in it is if they, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire said we don't want to be in it. But like I said, I 100% believe they're in it. So it's a strong likelihood. How much they're in it, I don't know. And this is not really one of my theories, but kind of a guess. I do feel like they're going to show up earlier in the movie than people expect. Like, a lot of people are thinking it's just going to be like 5 minutes, not 5 minutes, but the last little fight scene, which is very possible. But for some reason, I think we're going to either know about them or, we're going to see them early on. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. As far as other things that's very likely to happen, Doc Ock fighting with Peter now. So you see, they don't really get into it that much in the stuff that we've seen, but you very much clearly see that Doc Ock is fighting Electro at one point. I don't know if that's infighting or whatever, but you see Doc Ock and so much of material, mainly towards the beginning, like right after the spell breaks loose in the bridge scene. And then you don't see much of him after that until like the one part you see is him at the end getting blasted out the building by an electro blast. So to me, I think he's going to be on their team. I don't know if he goes off and does something throughout the movie and pops back up later, but I do think when it all goes down, obviously when you see the big shot that everybody thinks is CGI'd out, there's no Doc Ock going up against Spider-Man. So either he's not there or he's going to be on Peter's side. So we'll see. But I think that's pretty likely. I also feel very strongly that Venom is going to be in the movie. I don't know what capacity. I'm not really calling that, but I do feel that 90% chance he is in the movie somewhere. And in the actual movie, not a cutscene. I think he shows up in the movie. There's just zero reason to have that cutscene at the end or the end credit scene of Venom and not pay it off. It makes no sense, especially when Venom comes into the universe at the exact time that the movie is starting. So I think there's a reason for that. So those are the ones that I feel confident about, really like 90%. The next group I would say is fairly confident. So I would say between 60 and 80%, somewhere in there, is my next one. And I would first say Charlie Cox is in this. Charlie Cox is in this, and he's in it as Matt Murdock, not Daredevil. So there's one potential leak photo. Nobody confirmed it or anything that has him in it. But these rumors, like most of these rumors, have been going for over a year that he was on set, blah, blah, blah. And so when Kevin Feige comes out and says, oh, yeah, because that, you know, it's one thing to say we think Charlie Cox is going to be in here as Daredevil when the Netflix shows are going and all that. It's a whole nother thing to say it after those shows have been ended and the contract and all that ended with Netflix and it ended badly. And so it's a whole nother assumption to say, okay, why would they bring him back? And how would they bring him back? But when you have Kevin Feige say it, then I think, you know, there's a reason he said it around the time that he did. And he had no reason at all to really answer that question. And so you got some people saying that they think, oh, they take it at face value. They don't know when they're using him. Why would you mention somebody? Why would you cast somebody that you don't know when you're going to use them? And then why would you mention it then? It makes no sense. So I think there's an obvious reason why they said that. And then Charlie Cox himself, which I paid attention to, it was intriguing, but it wasn't as big as Kevin Feige saying something. Charlie Cox not too long ago was doing an interview and they asked him about it and he was just saying, you know, I would love to play him again. And he was like, you know, along the lines of, if I were to play him, it wouldn't be the same. We would have to think of a different way to bring him in and blah, 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 which all lines up with the idea that you can't reuse what you did on the Netflix series unless you get, you rework the contract, which could possibly happen. That needs to be said. They could have kissed and made up and changed the contracts. But even if they had to change it, you feel like Feige might want to put his own spin on it. And so him talking about being different and a different twist, a lot of detail for something that you quote unquote never talked about. I mean, he obviously had these conversations. Like, it was just very specific that he brought it up. And then Feige says that. So I think Charlie Cox is in. I'm fairly certain that Charlie Cox is going to be in there as Matt Murdock. And that's a rumor that he's not Daredevil yet. But I tend to agree that I think he's just going to be Matt Murdock. What else am I? I'm fairly confident that somebody is going to die between MJ. Somebody's going to die. I think multiple, actually. I'm going to put it that way. I think it's fairly reasonable to think that multiple people going to die. My bet is on MJ and Happy. That's my bet. My bet are on those two. But if you want to say between MJ, Ned, Happy, and Aunt May, I just see at least two of them dying. And so we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But just a lot of the conversation that's been had about this and kind of where we're heading, I definitely feel that two of them going to die. And then the last thing I probably would say I'm fairly confident about is this is going to end up um, with I almost said Peter Parker. What's his name? Tom Holland going into whatever the universe is that Venom is part of, whatever they want to call it. And so some people have really been like they've been really fighting against this whole discussion. And I don't know why. I honestly don't. Like, number one, yes, Amy Pascal said what she said. First of all, if you read the whole interview, she kind of was all over the place with that. But on top of that, some people, some journalists said, they're insiders at Sony said, no, that's not true. What she's saying is not really what's happening. We don't have any plans right now to work on these next 3. And there's a reason that everybody keeps saying it's the end of the Homecoming trilogy. And like people say, oh, well, that just means it's next trilogy. Bro, if you're just going to continue it, you would just continue it. There's a reason they are saying it's a certain thing. There's a reason Amy Pascal, even in the original interview, said that there's 3 separate universes. She didn't say they're merging. She didn't say they're all going to be together. She said there's 3 separate universes. I don't know what that third one she was talking about, but she mentioned the MCU and she mentioned the Spider-Man universe at Sony. Like, so there's all that. Like I said, I don't know exactly how or what, but I do think it's going to set that up. And at first I thought it was going to end with like either Peter stuck in that other universe or choosing to go. But I do believe he's going to be in Doctor Strange 2. So I'm not sure exactly if this movie he's going to end up there. But I do think this is going to set it up where he goes over to the other universe. So there's that. I'm fairly confident in that. Next is a 50-50 toss-up. I would say number 1 is Vulture. I don't know. I feel pretty confident Vulture is going to be in here. But Michael Keaton was talking about doing some reshoots. And we don't know which movie. It could be Morbius because we know he's in that. But it could be this one too. I mean, it makes sense. He was in the first one. And this is a lot about the villains coming after Spider-Man. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's a 50-50 toss-up. And then the other 50-50 toss-up I would say is Doctor Strange being manipulated or something. I don't know. It could very much be the case that they just made some convenient writing to fit what they wanted to do. But either way, what's going on with Doctor Strange just does not seem in character with me. I don't know I don't think he's like Mephisto. I don't think he's, what's his face? Mysterio. Some people think that. I don't think Mysterio can make this magic happen. So I don't think it's any of that. But I think there's something going on with Strange. But that to me is a 50-50 toss-up. All right. And so then this I would say is below 50%. I don't think is likely. But I got some ideas. And so it's supposed to be crazy. I don't know. It's supposed to be a crazy movie. It's supposed to have a lot in it. And so I don't think it's going to go nuts, but I don't know. I really don't know, actually. One thing I do think is that there's going to be I don't know if you call it a variant or Elseworld version of Tom Holland. Whoever's in that black suit, I don't think is the Tom Holland we know. I think that's an alternative universe, Tom Holland, to be quite honest. And I have no real strong indication on what the story is on that, but that's just kind of my thought with that. I do think we could see some wild stuff, but I just don't think it's the MCU because I don't know that Marvel is going to overpopulate, or Sony even wants them to overpopulate this movie with their characters more so than some of the stuff from Sony. And again, this isn't likely, but I really think we're going to see an animated Miles Morales. I don't know if he's going to be animated or like in the real world, or if Peter's going to go like bouncing through universes and end up in cartoon form in the Miles Morales universe. But to me personally, I think that there's going to be something with the animated Miles Morales, if not just even a small thing. Who else? I don't know. There's supposed to be so much crazy stuff in here. No, I don't think Blade. I do think Kraven's going to be in here. I think it's a good chance that he might be in here. I don't think we'll see Blade or anything like that. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with those. I'm gonna stick with those. So, but yeah, overall, I mean, theory wise, like I said, you see, they said this was a 3-story arc. Now, they said it was the 3-story arc between Wanda, this, and Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. I don't really see the connection with Wanda at all yet, but I do feel like Loki plays a lot into this, and we'll see. And that was my question early, because there's no guarantee that Sony is going to stick to the Disney quote-unquote rules of how all this variants and stuff work. So we'll see, but I think Loki just opened up this idea of really what a multiverse could do. And then we've been seeing that kind of play out. So I really think, this is going to set up going forward the rest of this phase. And I do think this is how we're going to get the X-Men and how we're going to get Fantastic Four and all this other stuff. But I'm not saying in this movie, but overall, I just think this movie sets all that up for the rest of this phase. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to stop there. Let me know what you think, your last predictions and whatever. Share it around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and if you heard it, here's the official Canon.